Okay guys, so starting your day, we have the engine and house switches immediately underneath the dash, just in here, so they're super easy to operate. We've got our 4 keys, 1, 2, 3, 4, switch them all to on, and then we can just do the single button start, or you could do an individual key start for each one, but that's way more fun. I got Alex with me today.
Hi.
Alex is joining me at the helm, and I'm just going to put my safety strap on because I know a lot of you nannies in England are going to complain if I don't, because yes, this is a very fast boat, and fair enough. Okay, fair enough. It is a very capable boat, this one. We're going to get it moving straight away. We're going to take you through the speeds, the fuel flows, and the feeling. We're running the Quad 500Rs. We have so many engine options on this boat that I'll talk about that later in the video, and we are also going to do a full speed run at the very end, plus some maneuvering and anchoring. So just feel it out with us and let's go for the ride. So I'm just straight up to 3,200 RPM, 16 knots. This boat wants to go fast, so you might as well get her up to over 20 knots, because then that's when and where she feels like she's starting to settle in. I'm going to drive from the standing position, but I may transition to sitting down a little bit later. I've got 0.8 on the trim. Obviously the engines are mounted at different angles, and I'm just going to start coming through a turn there and feeling the boat. We're quite low on fuel. We've got about 10% on board, so we are a light ship with 3 people and equipment on board. But these boats, they're super light on the fuel because the weight light ship on this Alpha 50 is 7 tons. So just think that through. If you're looking at any of the immediate competition, which would be less performance focused, some of those boats are going to be more than double the weight. However, we've got such a great deal of beam on this boat, she doesn't feel like a crazy hard to handle experience, so we'll try and demonstrate that in the rest of the video today. So going through my waves, a couple of things that I've noticed flying the drone this morning. She doesn't want to take up any water onto the decks. We still have completely dry decks, and I'm coming around again, just going to do one more turn here, then we'll take it through in the other direction, speeding up 3,900 RPM. I'm seeing 31 knots. (3,800 RPM, 32 knots. This just feels like the boat is kind of idling along. Coming through another gradual turn, visibility over the bow. We had a slight amount of bow raise on acceleration, which dissipates as soon as you get over about that 23, 25 knot range. Now, at these speeds of 30 to 35 knots, I got clear viz over the bow, I got clear viz out the back. Our wind vortices are really good on this boat. So at all the way through the speed range, I can feel wind here. I'm gonna now just increase my power a little bit. We'll get up to 4,200 RPM. I'm seeing 37 knots. And I'm gonna reverse my direction of travel. Your visibility is amazing on these boats because they are quite a low gunnel, being a rib. Okay, clear on the turn, coming through at 4,000 RPM. Dropping the engines a little bit, increasing power. No loss of visibility. I can see everything. I feel really well in control. Going through a couple of those waves there. This hull is eating up the chop. The sensation is better than an adventure hull. This is luxurious. It feels big, super controllable at this speed. Just coming through at 41 knots. Just checking my distance off the rocks there. Okay, that's good. Okay, so right now, in terms of task saturation, I'm feeling good. I don't feel like I have too much to do. I'm able to control, I have enough headspace available to look ahead, watch for dangers. You know, I got a bird just there, you might have fish and things. So because I'm not having to do much to control this boat at the moment and the hull is looking after me, I feel safe and comfortable to increase speeds, which I'm going to do. We'll just set it up to a moderately fast cruise speed now, going through a couple of waves, 4,000 to 4,200 RPM. We're seeing 42 knots speed return. Now I'm going to speed her up. 46 knots, 4,700 RPM. Doing a little bit of trim up on the motors. Just feeling how light she is there. This boat is definitely a 50 knot cruise if you want. I'm going to give her one little blast because I'm low on the fuel, and let's go. 5,100, 5,200, 5,300, 55 knots, 56 knots, 60 knots, blowing through it, 62 knots, 64 knots, 65 knots. This is a 70 knot boat. I'm watching my fuel flow, clear, and cutting left. Fantastic. That is incredible. That is so much fun. I think any boat, any boat that you've driven before, I don't think you can compare it to this. That's incredible. Acceleration is noticeable. 50 knot cruise is possible. 70 won't be a problem. Did you know the owner of the factory personally tests and tunes every single boat that comes out of the factory? We've got jacking plates out the back, they're fixed, not adjustable, and he tunes every single boat according to the engine setup and the props available. But we got a deep V, nice cutting action at the front of the boat. I could feel that going through the waves. The deep V is perfectly enough to go through chop and waves, albeit we don't have much today. We do have some big wind coming tomorrow. Maybe we can go out and try it again. We'll see what the owners say. Thank you to the owners for letting us use your boat. I appreciate it. That's incredible. You can feel the tubes stabilizing the boat. The hull is just cutting up the chop to a degree that is not comparable to most boats that you've seen or tried before. I felt safe with good directional stability at 65 knots. All right? That's not a speed most people should be driving. You really want to have your wits about you. You want to have good hand-eye coordination. You want to have sensible degree of safety or safety mindset. And once you do that, you're going to have a lot of fun. Okay, we're going to go from here somewhere protected, and then we will trial the anchor, see how easy or not that is to operate. Then we'll do some slow speed maneuvering. We've got the joystick, we've got the bow thruster and the quad rig. I see this as a boat that some of you are going to run with skippers, sure, but if you want to drive and have fun yourself, that's probably the intention as well, because you're going to have a lot of fun. So let's do that. Okay, so I'm just back in the marina, and I'm just going to utilize this little spot before we get into the busy part to test the slow speed maneuverability. So just backing up on all four motors. We do have a lot amount of deep V all the way down to the back of the boat, and therefore she tracks straight in reverse. So that's fine. Just make sure you get your body position in here sorted, because you may need to flip up the bolster before you go maneuvering yourself around the boat or adjust the steering wheel. I'm just going to try some transverse thrust now. Got the engine centered. I'm doing that on throttles. Okay, it's probably just the outside motors working, and yes it is, I can see them. And so the center motors are at idle. Easy. I'm just doing that at 1,000 revs on the outside motors, very predictable. So low windage, even though we are a lightweight boat, because we don't have relatively high sides compared to many day boats, this thing's pretty controllable. So I've activated the bow thruster. I'm just going to give it a bow thrust to port. Just going to watch this Raffner coming in behind me. Enough power, moderately strong, not overly strong. Okay, that's fine for some 2 to 5 second bursts. Now I'm just going to transition to joystick. This boat hasn't been calibrated. Oh, okay, the joystick works, that's good. Now let's just do a side slip to starboard. Yep. So once again, with 4 motors and the distance between the 2 outside motors, once you get the hang of this, you've got to do a little bit of oscillation on the joystick. You can slide this thing as we are right now, getting some good starboard sideways slip, and that feels controllable. And if I just bring the joystick back into the center line in a second, I'll just do that ever so gently, and now I'll just spin the boat to port using joystick. Plenty of power. Plenty of power. So if you've got a little bit of experience, don't be doing this on your first boat. It's a lot of money's worth of day boat. You're going to be absolutely fine parking this by yourself, because your access to the side decks is relatively straightforward, because it's just boom, and here you go. And on the other side, just watch this space between you and the steering wheel, adjust it if you've got a bit of a gut. Remember to flip up the bolster here. But in terms of your sight lines, you can see straight over these seats. I can see the motors. You can see straight over the dash. I can see the bow. I can see both cleats forward and aft from the helm position. And just pay attention to the aft swim platforms and on the corner, in case you come in close to a marina without a fender on those. But I'm pretty sure you can also option that up with some protection from the factory if that is of concern to you. Very good. Let's go wrap this video somewhere. All right, I'm going to do the wrap right here, guys. I might even sit or lean just here. So I hope that was genuinely useful to you, and we're in a little bit of a rush because we've actually got a client who wants to come for a test drive right now, so we're making the boat available for him. Performance, feedback, quality and competition for you to consider if you're thinking the Alpha 50 is the boat for you. Experience level, who should you be if you want to buy a boat like this? I think you should have some experience or be prepared to learn. Okay, so you can still get into something like this with less experience. Just have an open mind and be prepared to seek advice from the experts, because it is an exceptionally fast boat if you want it to be. Remember, you can go through all those different engine options, which I'll touch on right now. Actually, I have them just here in my Google Drive, and let me just see if I can find them. I'm doing this on the run, so here we go. So you can have twin Mercury 600 V12s, 5 Mercury 500 race V8s. You can do 4 500 race V8s with the optional joystick and autopilot. You can do 3 Mercury 500 V8s also with the joystick and autopilot. Then if we are talking about the V10, there is the 400R, that's the 400 race. You can do 5 of those if you want with joystick. You can also do 4 of the V10 400Rs. And then we're going to the standard V10 Mercury 400s. You can have 5 of them, you can have 4, you can also have 3 of the standard V10 400s, or we can also support Yamaha, so we can have 4 XTO 450s. They also come with a joystick and autopilot. We can do 3, remembering they are 450 horsepower. And if you go for the inboard diesel, you can do 2 D6 440s. That's the DPI with the joystick and autopilot. So you really do have a lot of thinking to consider when you're talking about engine packages. So I do believe you should consult your dealer or the factory direct if you want to dial into the correct horsepower for yourself. Do you need crew? Not necessarily. I think this boat can be managed with one experienced person. It's a rib. Ribs allow a lot of wriggle room, so no, I don't think it's required. Sure, it'll make it easier if you're boarding off your other boat and you have it in this setup, then in that scenario, that makes sense. The feeling at the helm. It's incredible. It's a lot of fun. You're going to want to take this boat out by yourself on a Sunday morning just for fun, just to get some kicks. It's that sort of boat. You feel fantastic. You feel like you are essentially making a bit of a statement on the water. So if it's not just the looks, but the feeling it gives you underway is just exceptional. We can put that down to the cutting action, the deep V, the air steps, and the water getting sent out to the sides. It just gives you a lot of time and attention to focus on the drive, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Experience for the guests depends how you treat them. I think they're going to have a lot of fun. I think they're the sort of people I think they are. They'll really enjoy it. Just make sure you put them in these comfortable, safe and secure seats with something to hold on to. If you're going to accelerate really fast with people down the back of the boat here, just communicate with them. Just look after your mates. Tell them about this strap just here to hold on if they need to, and just drive to the conditions. You know, if it's really wavy, then slow down a little bit. The quality, this is exceptional. I spent the day looking through the factory. It's a brand new factory commissioned in 2019. They are doing all the most modern construction techniques, and they're doing everything right that you would expect on a very high quality boat. So we can put this at the semi-custom range and right at the top quality in my personal opinion. Competition, well, you got to look at it a few different ways. If you were going to be looking at it from a performance perspective, I'd say you should probably compare this to the Goldfish. There's a 49 Open, that's a Norwegian brand, and they are of a similar thought process, albeit not as much volume as this one, so consider that. If we're just talking about maxi ribs, you know, something like the Sachs Strider 15 might be a consideration for you, but that boat's 10.5 tons, thereabouts, probably light ships. We are 7. Okay, so just consider that. And then if we're looking at an alternative, a more European funky med day boat, you could be looking at something like the Wally Power 50X. I think that is probably a fair comparison to this one. And even I had a look at this boat at Cannes recently. It's much more focused on volume and accommodation, so therefore it's much heavier and needs like 6 V12s from memory, 5 or 6 anyway, a lot. 5 V12s. That's the Vanquish, the VQ 55 with outboards. That's going to give you the similar feeling as to what you get on this, albeit I understand it's a very different boat. So, hope that was useful. Hope you enjoyed it. Do go ahead and share it, subscribe, and jump in the comments and tell me what you're comparing this with. Feel free to contact me on Monect, and I will pop up a competing boat on the screen right now for you to do your homework, because it's not about my boat life, it's about your boat life. So just use this as a tool, and I hope it's useful. See you in the next one. See you guys.